What's up, everybody? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to Straight Facts, No Chaser. Now, many of you haven't seen me for a minute do lives. I've been doing lives on other platforms. But I want to thank, first of all my subscribers, paid members, for everything. I have been really reflecting after this election, after the loss, and expecting America to be something that it isn't. And, knowing that, it was going to be hard for a black woman to try and win against a white male. But this white male was wounded. Okay. This white male was a person who had committed crimes and been considered a felon, waiting for a sentence. This white male had been convicted of raping a woman. On this platform, maybe we can say the actual word raping, right? A white woman. And then talking trash about her so much that she felt like she needed to go back into court and do it again. And still won more money. That was something that I did not expect. Even though I understand how racist this country is, and I keep telling people over and over again, this country's racist. And we had Kamala Harris and others say, oh, it's not a racist country because they're playing a political game. We know it's a racist country. And if you don't know, now you should know. Because Donald Trump is one of the worst human beings on the frickin' planet. And if people in this country believe putting the worst at the top is the best thing for America, then you got to look deeper than gas prices and the cost of eggs. Everybody should know by now that gas prices and the cost of eggs was a ruse. Ain't nobody cared about that. Has anybody right now even mentioned gas prices and the cost of eggs? Not at all. You got people out there like J.D. Vance trying to explain to people on Fox, of course, that it's going to get worse because of what Joe Biden did. No, it's going to get worse because Republicans can't govern. Never have, never will. These Republicans cannot govern. Think about the people he's putting into place. They can't even manage their own personal lives. And they're going to manage the world? Seriously? His lawyer lost his case. Yet he want to put the guy that lost the biggest case ever, pretty much, that we've seen on television. He lost it. He's going to put him in place of a legal system for the world. I mean, come on, y'all. Be realistic. This man is not what they believe him to be. And the thing that this country is really, I was always faced with, is really not really black and white. It's not black and Latin. It's not Latin and white. It's not. It is rich white people against middle class / poor white people. That's what this country is always tossing itself with. It's going back and forth on that. But nobody talks about that. Let me explain what I mean by that. When rich white people don't give a damn about poor white people, but they got to get poor white people to believe that they're better than black people and these Latin people coming across the border and all. So they got to get you to believe that. So how do they do that? They demonize the other. Well, let me ask you a question, poor white people. These others, are they coming in here rich or poor? They're coming in here poorer than you. They're taking jobs to clean people's homes. They're standing outside of Home Depot to go move big ass furniture that you don't want to move. They're coming in and harming your money? Does it even make sense? So the struggle isn't between poor immigrants and Americans, average Americans. The struggle is between rich white people and poor white people. See, they got you misguided that it's people of color causing your problem. No, it's rich white people causing your problem. And they use us as a scapegoat. And you're so easily fooled to think, oh, It's actually them coming in and taking our jobs. You wouldn't take half of those jobs that they're being offered. You know who's coming in and taking jobs that you're really qualified right now for? It's these visas for work visas. These people coming in from different other countries making 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 jobs. Those are the jobs you want. But see, those are being handed a lot to white people. Why aren't we talking about that? Even when we talk about these visas that are coming in, who do they blame it on? The people of color, the Indian people, the Asian people. But they don't let you know that there's a shit ton of white people coming in from other countries making that type of money. But see, they can't get you to move and be angry about white people getting paid because they deserve it. They have merit, right? Your problem is with people of color having them. But that's what you think it is. It really is between rich white people and poor white people. Because they got you believing that somehow these people are coming in and demanding this kind of money. No. These rich white people want them. You got to understand supply and demand. These people can't come into the country unless these rich white people demand it. So you're mad at the person getting paid, but not pissed at the one who's paying for it. Do you understand how your problems with rich white people and poor white people? They just use color, people of color, as the scapegoat. And you're happily excited about it even to allow them to be the scapegoat. When in fact, it's you versus you. They don't care about you and they blame it on people of color. Well, see, if these people of color weren't here, I would be giving you the money. Well, you're here while the people of color are here. Why are they just giving you the money? Why has it got to be a term? Get them out, I'll give it to you. Why don't you just give it to me at all? Don't think that way, right? No, because that's not the way they want you to think. Humans are more controlled than they think. They know your data, they know how you act and how you respond, and they feed you what you want to hear. You get comfortable in what you want to hear, so nothing changes. Because they're feeding you what you feel already. And anything you don't feel causes some kind of friction, and therefore you don't want to feel bad. But you got to understand, every time something's changed in your life is because you went through some hell before you got to another piece of heaven. You see, a lot of people just want to have heaven, 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 heaven. It's when you go to hell when you find out what the next heaven is like. And that's the point. You don't want to face the truth and have to face that hell for a little bit so that you can come out on the other side more blessed than you were prior. You rather have minimum blessings, keep it smooth, as opposed to have maximum blessings by going through the fire and coming back on the other side unscathed. That's what you want. And that's why you are where you are. And it's so easy for you to blame people of color for your problems instead of looking in the mirror and realizing that the people that look like you that don't give a fuck about you. It's people that look like you that won't give you a job because they can pay these people who don't look like you less than what they have to pay you. That white privilege is a bitch. But anyway, today was really coming back into myself because after the election, a lot of what I believed about America, that's why I call this the status of America, is because it's not what I was hoping it to be. It's not. It showed me that this country is more about destruction than it is about building. About nightmares more than it is about American dreams. Because people don't focus on trying to make their world better. by just doing good. They need to harm somebody else so they can step on them and get a little higher. Don't want to admit it though. Recently, this past week, and we're going to go over a few topics of this past week. Donald Trump was convicted as a felon. See, normally my normal content, Mr. Straight Facts coming out and talking about Trump whisperer, translating stupid. One of the things I realize about that is you can't educate the stupid. You can't, because they're stuck in their feelings. How can you educate stupid people? They have every minute of the day like I do, 24 hours a day, to put knowledge in their brain, and they choose to live through their hearts what they believe just because of their feelings. So therefore they don't grow. They wonder why they're still in the same place. I can't get this, I can't get that, because you won't open your mind to anything other than what you're already living. Mediocre. You're happy there. You don't want it to change. See, those are the people that are afraid of change, because they think on the other side of change is something worse as opposed to something better. The negative-minded folk. But these people consistently are trying to hold everybody else back because of their limited views and limited thinking. And we have to sit there and just take it. At least most people feel that way. But what I noticed in this journey of, trying to educate them is that a lot of people who agree, or are open to understand, came over to my page and actually started receiving a lot of this knowledge and fact checking me and coming back just like I requested to tell me this right here, I didn't know, now I know this, and I researched it and I found out this, and they bring me back stuff that I may not have been able to uncover. See, iron sharpening iron. Knowledge helping others become even more knowledgeable. Therefore, we all become wise. Just takes a little bit of homework. But a lot of people just feel happy in their ignorance. And they're afraid of learning anything because why? Because I feel stupid. Well, you wouldn't feel stupid if you actually learned something. But they're afraid of that. So they rather have somebody feed them what they feel. And that's what these algorithms are doing. Feeding you what you already feel. So therefore, you don't have to learn a damn thing. You just got to feel your way through life. So I realized I couldn't educate the stupid. So therefore, I said, you know what? I got to think about changing up what I do. Why? Because I am a person, I've always told you guys, I am a person that focuses on change. The facts must lead us in the right direction. I don't bring you lies. I don't bring you just my feelings. I bring you actual facts that you can check and come back to me and be like, hey, this was right or this was wrong or whatever, and then we can both be on the same plane. So when I talk about these facts, they don't want to hear them. So I said to myself, what am I going to do now? I'm going to keep on just feeding day-to-day facts. And if you realize most of my content, I'm not the one that finds out that day, and I'm usually putting a video out. Not because, I couldn't do that. Not because the people who do that are wrong or anything like that. It's because for me, I told you I'm Mr. Straight Facts. So I want to be as factual as possible. I believe news should come slow, right? And actually have a deeper meaning. Meaning that you've thought it through. You let the facts come out a little bit. Then you made a concerted effort to be accurate. Not to just deal with the emotion of it all. Because just like everybody else, we done been through some emotional shit. And we say something like real quick, like this happened. And then find out our emotions led first. The facts didn't bore it out. We've all been a part of that. Now, we're human. We're going to be a part of that. But The difference between being a part of that is that, and not really condoning that, is we need to come back and say, I fucked up. I was wrong. I led too quick. This is the truth. And give that truth just as much energy as you gave those emotional lies. Not like, yeah, that was wrong. Move on. No, you spent 30 hours on saying this shit was true. Don't spend 30 seconds on saying it was a lie. Spend 30 hours on how you fucked up. You feel me? Same energy. So that we can be factual and so that we can be transparent. We're going to fail sometimes, but make that effort. So that's why you haven't seen me a lot. No one is reading nowadays. That's why you haven't seen me a lot to come on here and talk, because again, I don't do this just like I'm going to make a lot of cash for it. I do it because I want to be factual and I want it to be a resource for people to find facts and not just feelings. That's why it's called Straight Facts, No Chaser. Fuck your feelings. Because I don't want to hear just your feelings. We all got them, but I ain't going to report on them until I really have some facts to back them up. And then you'll know when I'm talking about my feelings and when I'm actually bringing you receipts and telling you about facts that you can check. That's why I do this. And it's not, I'm not trying to be Mr. News. I'm not trying to come on every day at 5 or 3 or whatever the hell. I've done that shit before. Nothing's wrong with it. It's just that I want to be a resource that's factual. And if it takes me a minute to get those facts together and look deeper into the conversation, then so be it. It's not speed, it's accuracy for me. So I'm going to talk about a few issues today. And I just wanted to really, because I think I owe it to my members who haven't seen me for a minute, to let them know what I've been going through. We all got to deal with our own mental health. And my mental health was not in the right place. I felt like, what's the purpose of this shit? What's the purpose of coming up and talking every day about shit we ain't gonna really change? It's like describing an accident before it happens. You say, yeah, this car is about to hit this other car, when you could have screamed and told them to stop. You're just reporting what everybody saw and having a feeling about it. That's fine. That's what we're all doing. But I want to be factual. I want to make some change. So there's some things that have changed within me. And I'm not the creature, a person that doesn't welcome change. I definitely welcome change. Because that's the only way the world in which I want to see, I want my kids to see, can ever come to fruition if I see change and actually run toward it. The positive change. But the negative change, I got to be able to figure out how to navigate it. I just can't ignore it. You wouldn't ignore cancer, you get chemo or some kind of therapy. You wouldn't just say to hell with it and just let it overcome you. You're going to fight like hell. That's what I was doing this entire time while you guys haven't seen me, is fighting like hell to figure out a solution, not to come on and just get into my emotion fully. I wanted to solve some shit before I actually did. Part of being factual. So this past week, cover some of the issues. Donald Trump was convicted as a felon. Anybody who got convicted for what he did, not 34 charges, just one, would receive around 4 years in jail for that. Now, many people of wealth and middle class may not see jail time at all, but they always see some kind of restitution. They got to pay for something. They're on probation. They never get like, just leave, it's all right, no big deal. They rarely get that, if ever. And we saw our justice system, those of us who love facts and have always been told, follow the law, don't break the law, and, respect those people around you and all that. We grew up with morals, which I thought America had. I was highly mistaken. America doesn't have morals. as I thought it would, as a whole. Because this man, convicted by his peers, not Democrats, his peers, 34 charges. And his punishment is that he's considered a convicted felon, but his sentence was unconditional discharge. Now, I deal in facts. So I'm just going to focus on what the hell is that, right? I don't think most people know. So I'm going to read the definition of what this man just received. We're going to learn together, or you're going to hear it again if you already know. We're going to read it. An unconditional discharge is a legal outcome in which a person found guilty of an offense is released without any penalty or further obligation. Hear this and hear me well. No penalty or obligation. It essentially means that while the court recognizes the person committed the offense, it decides not to impose any punishment or conditions on them. We're going to discuss what that means. Key points about an unconditional discharge. We're going to go over the 4. 1, no conditions, what they said in this. Unlike a conditional discharge, there are no requirements or conditions the person must meet, such as good behavior or probation. This person doesn't have to prove that they have good behavior or go on probation. So they do not have to be apologetic for doing said crime. They have no terms or conditions. You're guilty, but that's what it is. No further action. This is number 2. The case is considered closed without additional penalties such as fines, probation, or imprisonment. So no imprisonment. We got that. No fines. You frauded people, right? And you get no punishment for it. You don't have to pay back to people you defrauded, being the government or whomever. You ain't got to pay it back. You don't go on probation. You don't even get told, slapped on the hand, you're a bad guy. You don't even get that. Number 3, it's still recorded. The offense and discharge are typically noted on the person's criminal record, depending on the jurisdiction. However, it may not result in a conviction in some cases. This case, it did not. Even though it's still on his record, no real conviction. Number 4, it's used for minor offenses. Courts generally grant unconditional discharges for minors, or not for minors, for minor offenses or situations where the judge believes punishment is unnecessary or counterproductive. This outcome is often used when the court determines that the consequences of a conviction or punishment would be disproportionate to the offense committed. Mind you, people go to jail for this offense. They wanted you to believe, oh, no, people rarely go to jail. And you guys believe that shit. All you had to look it up and say, okay, how many offenses have happened in the past year or whatever? A lawyer actually looked this stuff up. It was like there was literally 10,000 offenses or whatever. The majority of people got charged. But see, again, people put this shit out here and it just lives in the ecosphere and everybody's like, it's never charged, no big deal. Even the news was saying this shit. The news did no homework to find out that most people do get charged for this. They listen to these lawyers who did no research. They're just talking about their particular city or state. They ain't talking about throughout the United States. Oh, we're in New York and this is what normally happens. What happens in the United States, not just New York? Most people get charged for that crime. Especially if they got charged for 34 of them. It's just insane. Insane that these people would literally lie like that. And then America, I mean, do you really need evidence to say this shit is wrong, breaking the law is wrong, therefore somebody should be punished for it? I mean, do you really need an expert to tell you that, oh, most people don't get these charges? Do you really need that? We got people out here stealing purses going to jail for 4 years. A purse that may be $300. This man stole billions. Stealing is stealing. And a purse can get you in jail for 3 or 4 years. Stealing millions of dollars. I don't think it was billions, but millions of dollars. Frauding people. We got a question. Maybe he shouldn't go. What? Go out and get something from a grocery store right now that you don't pay for, or a department store, and see how long you stay in jail if you don't have the bail. And if you do have the bail, see what happens to you at the end of that charge. You may get 30 days in jail. You may get a year or 2 in jail, but you are rarely going to get out of it. But he got out of it. He got out of it. One thing that helped me understand this country a little more is that this country went, like, half of it went bananas. Another half went, like, hell yeah, when the guy from United Healthcare was unalived by Luigi. And the world was like, a lot of people were saying, you know what, these fat cats are taking all this money and letting people die, to hell with him or whatever. And I'm like, okay, so you had a problem with the establishment, the system. Yeah. I see where you're coming from. But then you got Donald Trump doing the same thing, if not worse. The establishment, money, been buying off politicians his entire life. His dad was. Look it up. His dad did the exact same thing. That's where he learned it from. And somehow he's for the people. You have to understand something. Donald Trump is the figurehead. America is the problem. See, Donald Trump can't get into leadership unless we have a problem in America. Because if we really held the morals of we love the law, that we want to treat each other fairly, the contract, that social contract that we have amongst each other is that treat me the way I want to be treated and I'll treat you the way you want to be treated and all these different things. And, don't break the law and, pay attention to this and don't speed and all that and be good to people and all this shit you learned in your churches and your religions and all that. If you really believed in that shit, there's no way this demon would live as a leader in this country. So you got to ask yourself, how can we live in a country that calls itself to be religious and loves its people and believes in being a patriot, and you can put a person who breaks all those social contracts in power and think that that person cares about you, but they've never shown that they even cared about their own children, let alone you. So the problem, when you look deeper into it, is the American people. And it's not all of us, because many of us, especially 80% of black men, 92% of black women, we got it. A lot of y'all didn't. We believed in morals, rights. We've been fighting for them and dying from actually fighting for them or for them for centuries. How is it that we get it and the rest of y'all don't? Not just the minority of y'all. How is it that the majority of y'all don't? How is it that half of y'all don't get it? Do you understand where we stand in this country? Half of this country doesn't believe in morals. Because if they did, they would never put a criminal in charge of the entire freaking country. Would you, ladies and gentlemen who voted for Donald Trump, or those who believe that, oh, Kamala was going to be horrible, tell me this real quick. Would you get a person who is a known, convicted pedo to babysit your children? How about if I said that pedo was a billionaire, had a bunch of businesses? Would you allow him to babysit your children because he can run your house like a business? Would you? Because that's what you just told America that you would do. Not only would you do it, you did it. You did it, America. The majority of uneducated white women, you did it. White men, you did it. Like 60% of Latin men, you did it. 40 or whatever it was, almost 50% of Latin women, you did it. You put a pedo as your babysitter because he was a businessman and a billionaire and white. That's what you did to the entire freaking country. And what you did to your own family. You can't complain if that pedo goes into the bedroom and does something to your child because you put that in power. That's what you did. You don't see it, but you're starting to. You're in that find out. You've been in that find out stage. You're starting to realize this man talking about going to wars. I thought y'all was against war. He's trying to take over countries, make other countries the 51st state. What happened to Puerto Rico? You gonna skip that? What? What happened to all these other countries that you want to call like they're a state, but you don't? You want to go and take over other areas for what? None of us are even thinking about the Panama Canal. This man just drumming up drama for no reason. You put that in power. You did. You can't blame a soul but you. I don't want to hear over these 4 years, you people who voted for Donald Trump bitching and moaning about your life. I don't want to hear about taxes being high and all this other shit and you can't afford this. Fuck you. I don't want to hear you can't pay your rent because of that. You voted for this cretin. You put this pedo in front of your children and said, yes, I trust him to take care of you. I'm about to go out and have a great time. I'm going to travel to another country, spend a couple weeks while my kids are being taken control over by a billionaire pedo. And I'm just going to be like, oh, I'm going to come back home. My kids are going to be safe. No, your kids are going to be destroyed. That's what you just did. And you act like, oh, he's going to take care. He's going to make our taxes go down and where? Everybody and their mama like me were telling you tariffs are taxes. And here's the crazy part, people. You don't have to actually put a tariff on for people to actually raise shit up. All you got to do is threaten it. And they will start raising prices because they're proactive. They're not reactive. When people have their money and they know it's about to act funny, they don't wait till it's funny to start fucking around with that and moving their money around. Donald Trump mentioned that shit the minute he won. These countries are automatically charging more. These companies are going to charge more. Why? Because they're getting prepared. These countries, while Donald Trump said that, and before he won, he was going to get close to winning, They went and bought a shit ton of stuff they increased their product. So they got them at these prices that are still low. They're just storing them in warehouses. They want for months, maybe even a year or two. They're going to buy 2, 3, 4 years of product at these cheaper rates. They're going to store them somewhere. And when Donald Trump puts on that tariff, they ain't got to buy another product from that country for 4 years because they already done bought enough of it to last them 4 years of an investment. But they're going to act like they're going broke and tell your ass exactly what you don't want to hear, but what they have to do. We got to raise prices because these tariffs are hard on us. While they got the product for the price range that they're paying low rates for now, sitting in storage, they're going to dust that shit off and sell it to you at a higher rate and make twice as much profit as they did before. You will see these companies saying, wow, we had record profits. Why? Because they bought years of that product and put it in storage. They didn't get touched by the tariffs, but you guess who did? You did. It's amazing how stupid Americans can be. You don't see these demons, how they work. Greed will make people do some of the strangest shit. Just mark my words. Shit will go up. Businesses will never see a problem, only profit. They have bought stock for you guys. It's sitting in warehouses. They won't feel this tariff at all, for the most part. And you're the one that's going to be harmed by it. Just mark my words. We'll see. But think about it. If I can think of this on how I would save money and make extraordinary profit, you think they ain't already done it? You think I'm some kind of prophetic person like, oh my God, I did something that they would never think of. They have thought light years of evil shit ahead of me. How do you think they got rid of women's rights to their own body? They've been working on that for 50 years. Most of us thought that shit just lasts forever. We weren't working to keep it because if we would have codified it. Why is it that we wait until shit's gone before we fight for it? That shit should have been codified 50 years ago. That should have been codified 49 years ago. They should have did it. Bow, done. Can't even change it. Why is it up in the air? And why aren't we even talking about it anymore? Women are still dying. We just don't have them on TV anymore. We're going to move on to Donald Trumpville. This is what happens. We're going to have 4 years of this fool being the major part of news forever. He's going to throw out tweets and truths, and news is going to follow this fool around like a crackhead. And they're going to sit there and report on every little thing. He farted yesterday. Oh, really? Really? His diaper was full. Oh, really? We don't give a fuck. It ain't going to do shit for us. Hit me up when his natural death happens. I'll be right there looking at the funeral and the procession. But all this bullshit that he's going to be doing, only tell me when there's something we can defeat. I don't want to hear about everything he does every day. Who wants to hear that shit? That's one thing I liked about President Obama and what I like about President Biden. I didn't have to wake up every day stressed the fuck out about what my president is talking about that has nothing to do with running the country. Has everything to do with this man's feelings and problems and issues. It's like living with somebody who has a mental issue 24/7 and you got to sit here and deal with it. I don't have that child in my home. But these fools elected that dumbass child that's going to be sitting there 100% of the time bugging the hell out of you about stupid shit. And they wanted this. Not because of that, though. They wanted it because he allows their racist tendencies to be just regular. enough of that fool, because again, it's going to be a lot of him. And one of the things I'm going to try my damnedest to do is provide solutions in these 4 years. Whatever he says, I ain't going to react immediately. I'm going to find solutions, and specifically for black folks, because nobody focuses on us. Nobody. The other thing that happened, I want to talk about is the President Obama being cordial with Donald Trump. I've seen so many people flipping out and getting all mad about it, and other people saying it's just fine. I saw Joe and Mika talk about it, and one of the ex-presidents of the Republican Party, his name's escaped me right now, going at it. And I respect that brother. He's got his own show on the weekend on MSNBC. He was a Republican. I remember when he was a Republican and fighting for all this Republican shit, but he was still like cordial, but I was still like, nah, bro, nah. You can't get me to believe in those Republican ideals, because I don't believe you guys believe in half the shit you say. Michael Steele it is, Michael Steele. So they went after each other, but Michael Steele was really just letting Joe Scarborough know, you're trying to normalize the insane. This man is just crazy. Shit that he says is just outrageous. And Joe Scarborough was trying to say, look at them being cordial and stuff like that. That's what America needs. No, America needs to put their foot in Trump's ass. That's what America needs to do. America needs to stand up for what the morals they say they fucking believe. Or be racist as fuck and let everybody know what it really is. Stop trying to hide behind these code words like woke and all this other shit that you just really want to say the N-word. Because to me, all of this, pomp and circumstance about, they were cordial with one another. What was he supposed to do? Punch him in the mouth? Is that what you wanted to see? Him just walk up and just sock him right in the throat? That's what you wanted? I mean, please, make some fucking sense. That man is filled with class. I know in his head, he would have karate chopped the fuck out of Trump. But in real life, he knows when I'm in the public eye, I got to act like I got some sense. If not for public perspective. So we don't know what that conversation was about. And as a person maybe in the news, I have no problem with you searching to find out. Ask him. Get an answer. They do it all the time, like in sports. You'll see Michael Jordan, this is my era, Michael Jordan talking to somebody on the other team, Magic Johnson, and like, what did you guys have to say? Oh, I was just telling them this, that, and the other. That's all you had to do. Get a reporter to ask those questions, and up until then, keep your mouth shut about it. It ain't. You don't know what the hell they talking about. Obama could have literally said, "You crazy as fuck." He could have laughed at him. You don't know what it is. But the point for me is that moment does not mean shit to me until I hear what it's about. Do you know how many times black people have code switched just so that they're not going to make no issue at this man's funeral? The fuck? No. President Carter was a man of morals. President Carter was a man of God. To go into his funeral and act anything less than that is just insane. I would never expect that of President Obama. And anybody who did, the fuck were you thinking? For that, I'm like neutral on. I go by what a man or a woman does. Where their heart is. Do you understand how hard it is to sustain something you don't believe in? So when Donald Trump does this racist shit, you know he believes it. You can't keep that shit up if you don't believe in it. Obama being cordial and being a decent human being, he does it 24/7. That's who he is. It's hard to keep that shit up if it's not you. Because trust me, somebody in the ecosphere would be like, he ain't like that, you know that. I was with him at the club. It was this, that, and the third. They would be there. It would be millions of dollars of already. This is the thing I want people to understand, and it's highly overlooked. President Obama's been around in the ecosphere for us, like knowing who he is since he was a senator in 2008, 2006, whatever. It has been, 17 years or something like that, 2008 till now? Going on 17 years. There is a system that is consistently, especially in the political ecosphere, looking for dirt on you, to turn you into a demon, to make you a liar so that they can overpower you. They did it to Hillary. They did it to Clinton, the president. They've been trying it with Obama, and in 17 years, they found absolutely nothing. What does that tell you about this man? 17 years of trying to find this man in some compromising position to destroy everything he did, and they found nothing. Think about that before you jump to conclusions over a joke or laughter, maybe even uncomfortable laughter just to kind of smooth the moment. We don't know. But 17 years, you found nothing but decisions that he's made as a president that you don't like. Some I don't like. But that's presidential decisions that I wasn't forced into. I may have made the exact same decision if I knew the choices I had to make. I don't know. But it's easy to Monday night quarterback. Right? Save wit. The best they came up with, he was smoking cigarettes in a tan suit that Reagan wore, that George Bush wore. They looked like wore the same damn suit, like it was like in the closet. They just picked that shit out, like it was like Abraham Lincoln's suit many years ago. Like, everybody go wear the tan suit this week. They all looked the same. It was crazy, and it was a big issue when a black man did it. Oh, it's not professional, blah blah blah. And then to call his wife a man. I mean, it's insane. But I hold my judgment on that. Obama still has my respect. The things that he's done, the health care that many people I know are on. People don't realize when before Obamacare, just to have the minimal insurance, you was paying $400, $600, $800 per fucking person. Now you can spend $100 or less and have not the same insurance, better insurance. Yeah. Thank you, President Obama. Thank you. For many of us with families and children and, parents were taken care of. Thank you. Because without that, we'd be broke on just insurance alone. Never mind the copays that have gone down because of it too. People seem to forget and always want to try and tear down shit. Not because it didn't work, because this black man gave something to this country that has been asking for over 50 years. And couldn't get it accomplished with all these other white men. That a black man did it in such a quick time. Oh, they was trying to tear that shit down. Still trying to tear it down. Not because it's not working, because a black man did it. If you don't believe that, then ask yourself, why is it that this thing consistently is growing more and more? At that time, it was like 15, 20 million people on it. Now it's over 50 to 60 million, whatever, Americans on it. It's getting better, and you want to tear it down every time you get a chance. For what? I'll tell you what they're trying to do, in all honesty, because he never has a plan. He just has concepts. What they want to do is to tear it down, meaning like stop it, and then rename it the Trump Care Act. Then start back off where Obama, the ACA stopped, and give a white man the credit for doing it from history, from here on in history. Oh, there was a problem with it when the black guy did it. But once we just threw in this little kink right here and just added this little piece right there and took this away, it's better now. That's all they really want. If they can just go in without having Congress, having to vote and all this shit like that, and just etch out and erase the name ACA or whatever and just say, just label it Trump Care Act, they would keep it. Or even just say J.D. Vance. As long as it's a white guy, they'd keep it. There's nothing wrong with it if it's giving great insurance to millions of people. And these dipshits that voted for him, again, they're talking about white supremacy, white nationalists. That's all they care about. Because if they cared about taxes, they cared about gas prices and the cost of eggs and bacon, all this shit like that, they would never even attempt to vote for somebody that mentioned tariffs once they found out what they were. We're dealing with people that didn't want to know the truth because the truth was out there. They didn't want to know it. I was doing it. Politics by Tabitha was doing it. Political Sis was doing it. A bunch of people out there were just telling straight facts, no chaser, fuck your feelings in their way. And they have hundreds of thousands, and the Conscious Lee, millions. And you got other brothers and sisters out there had 1 million or so. They've been all saying it. These people didn't want to listen. One of the other things I'm going to mention that got on my nerves was that I've been a content creator on social media for like 5 years now. My background is in film and television, so I was always in content creating, but in a different format for well over 20 years. And what I recognize in this whole thing is that, you know, a lot of people just don't want to know the truth. They want to live in this lie, this bubble that they live in. And, you know, oftentimes I get tired of it. Get tired of trying to educate people who just don't want, who thick-skulled to try and want to learn anything. They think everything they know is right. And even though data shows that they're wrong, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And you'll see, you know, that the things that we are, all, the people I always mention, Tabitha and Political Sis, we're fighting for, it's like it just gets to the people who kind of already believe it. And then I think to myself, there's got to be change. So how do you get people who don't want to believe it to change? Well, you really got to look at what is their motivating factors. You'll hear politicians on the right tell you, you just got to listen to what the people actually want. Like that smug dude on CNN, Scott Jennings or whatever his name is. That smug dude. He's always got that little smirk on his face because it's like this racist filter. He loves the fact of being in a room with black people and them being mad that white supremacy is winning. That's that little racist smirk he has. I'm winning because I'm white. And then tries to play the victim by saying, you know, white men, firefighters, everybody wanted other people, and this stuff is happening because we don't have more white male firefighters. If you had all white men doing it, it'd be, you know, better. Then you go back and look and said, you know what happened? A lot of problems have happened with white people leading them. What do you say about that? It's just the circumstances. You can't win all the time. Say what? So it's not the circumstances when black people are leading and that they win at a 90% clip and lose at 10, and the same for white. But the explanation for the white man who lose at 10% is that it's going to happen. But the 10% black, oh, if you'd had white people in there, we would have had 100%. No, you would have had 90% just white men leading it. Stats are just stats. How the hell you make shit up like that? So this whole idea of merit is just like what woke means to racist white people. See, one of the things I talked to you guys earlier about is about how this world is really at war with itself, meaning poor white people and rich white people. It's really not about the people of color. The people of color being used as a scapegoat because the majority of white people are down compared to the rich white people. It's only like 1% of them, up to 4% from middle class all the way up. The rest of them are just as bad off as many other people of color. So how do you get them to be mad at the people of color? I mean, instead of the people they should be mad at, rich people who are putting them in the positions that they're in. They're the ones hiring all these people. But they blame the person who went in for the interview when they saw it, the job available, and not the person who had the power to give the job. Do you see how that makes no sense? I'm mad at the person who received the job, not at the person who gave it to them because they could pay them less. So you think getting them out the country will force them to pay you more. You're not mad at the person who is doing everything he or she can do to pay you less. Makes no sense. But this country thinks it makes sense because it lives and feeds and breeds, even breeds off of greed. Me. It's not we the people, it's me the people. Stop saying we the people. This country is not about we the people. It is about me the people. You don't give a fuck about nobody but yourself. The only time we give a fuck about anybody else is through disaster. These fires going on. All these people out here, oh, I feel so bad for these people. Send money, send this, send that. Pray for them. Only through trauma. But when everything's going good and you see other people being poor and on the street or whatever and the system's holding them back, you don't give two shits about them. Ain't none of this. Pray for their family. Hopefully they get medication. Let's build some healthcare centers so that we can take care of these poor people. They're out on the street. They used to have stuff, but they can't help it that they went to the military and fought for our lives, and what they saw over there fucked with their minds so much that they had to come back to America and couldn't assimilate, and their brains are all fucked up and they got to take drugs they can't afford, and it makes them feel so fucked up that they don't want to take the drugs, or they're out on the street eating shit that they shouldn't be eating. I should be able to help them. You don't give a fuck about them. Yet they gave their lives for you. You ain't talking about them on a day-to-day basis. Most of you walk past them and be like, he stink. Take a bath. That's America. Wake the fuck up. That's America. Very few of you give a fuck about anybody else but yourself and the people that live in your house. The next thing I want to talk about is Mark Zuckerberg this past week ending the fact checking at Meta. You had a lot of news organizations and some people saying that Mark Zuckerberg was acquiescing to Donald Trump and his powers and things of that nature. And I want you guys to look back look back into the past and stop thinking about the actual minute right now. That's why I love to do research. Remember when we were holding Facebook's feet to the fire for the misinformation during 2016? Republicans had no problem with it because it got them into power. The rest of Americans and liberals or Democrats and also like that fair-minded folks was like, you know what? You were feeding all these people lies. I remember I was on Facebook strong back then. And I was fighting for logic and facts. I started a group called Opinionated with an 8 in it. And it was all about getting my Republican friends and Democrats and liberals and all that, conservatives, into a space to kind of like converse about the things that they were lying about and how they were starting to believe some of these lies. And I'm in this thing strong. And Facebook kept posting all this propaganda, and what I was doing, or letting this stuff be, and people paying for it, what I was doing was constantly bringing my technological mind together and trying to help my people who were technologically inept and say, look, guys, this is fake information. They were like, no, it's what your feelings were. So therefore you believed it. And I said, no. I had to go through in this group countless times to say, what is it that you believe? And give me a source that you got it from. And for a time, while Donald Trump was running for president, so it was actually before 2016, like 2015, around there. And I said, give me, the source. Because in this room, this group, it was only sources. You could say what you feel, but you had to provide a link to where you got it from. So we at least got to that point. That was earlier on. And I would go into this group that I created alongside this other girl that I met on Facebook who was also into her Republican side, but wanting to be fair. And so we went in and had all these, every day it was our group, so we were like the moderators. So I would go in and I would see all these different comments from the Republican side. She'd see it from the Democrat side, and then they would go over, we would look it over and talk about it. One of the major things out of this, that came out of this, it ended up the group just broke apart, was that every source, not every other, every source that came from the Republican side was propaganda. And I proved that every source that they actually brought me and already had an emotion behind it was coming from websites that weren't in America. They were in enemy countries or non-allied countries. That's where it was bought. If you guys don't know, some of you, I'm pretty sure most of you are technologically savvy. ICANN, they're the ones who organize like the structure of domain names and things of that nature, registrations and so forth. And you can go to who.is, or I think it is who.is. You can look it up. I knew back then these things because I was in technology really deep, still am. And you can find out where a domain was registered from, right? Not unless they pay for it to be hidden. At this time, a lot of these people weren't paying for it to be hidden. So I'm like, dude, this came from Russia. This website was bought and paid for by Russians. This isn't real. It's propaganda. Almost every site they were quoting to me as factual came from a foreign country that was trying to fuck with our elections. China. I forgot what other country was. I know they had like Venezuela, some other countries. I know Russia for sure. But it was some other countries that actually had, an interest to destroy America. And these fools was quoting from it, and I was showing it to them. I'm like, dude, that's from Russia. No, it's not. I'm like, look, you go check it out. Who.is or .is.org or whatever the hell it is. Go look it up. And when it came back, what did they do? Change the subject. But this. And I'm like, well, where's the source for that? It got to the point where they stopped giving resources because they knew it wasn't factual. Their feelings mattered more than the facts. Then I knew we was in trouble as Americans. I was afraid at that point Donald Trump was going to win, because these people were so mad that I was providing facts and actual resources. I said, these aren't trusted sources. This thing was just built a week ago in Russia. How the hell can you believe something that was made a week ago? They just bought this domain name. They just bought it. Push this propaganda like that. Have you ever recognized if you just started a site and somehow it has tens of thousands of fucking like quotes on it? How did they come up with all this information and post it like that? It's not a regular human being that can post 10,000 responses and you just bought it a week ago. They did not care. Their feelings trumped the facts. I knew we were in trouble. But I was hoping we'd pull up. Nope, we're going straight down. Because now these people are empowered to be stupid. Now their feelings mean more than facts. And I started realizing that their feelings mean more than facts, then they can negate the fact that people who've worked hard to get somewhere actually matters. If I feel I deserve the job, I deserve it. But you don't know what you're doing. I don't care. I deserve it. Entitlement. But when I realized about this Mark Zuckerberg fact-checking thing, no longer to worry about facts anymore, people have been saying that Zuckerberg is acquiescing to Trump, and that, you know, he's weak and all these different things. There's different articles written about him, and you know, and quotes on news about, you know, him doing this and the third, and they blaming it on Trump. What did I tell y'all about Trump? Trump is a scapegoat for what Americans want to do. The bad Americans. But there's a lot of them. You remember, as I was saying earlier, Mark Zuckerberg, during that Trump era where these people would like this misinformation that I was just explaining, he was sitting in court looking like a bruised, egoed child when they were ripping into him, talking about Russian misinformation. You're going to change this, you're going to change that. And that's when that was happening at that time. And he was like, you know, not liking it, but sitting there taking it, getting his ass waxed over that. He didn't have that look because he really gave a damn about the American people. He had that look because he got caught. And the American people, via our government, was holding his ass to the fire. He wasn't happy to make these changes to protect the truth and facts. He was pissed and afraid of what they were going to do. Whether they were going to put restrictions on him so he couldn't make money, so his investors would start leaving and his businesses would start to fail. That's what he was worried about. These regulations, he didn't want them. He don't give a fuck about Americans. They give a fuck about money and power. So he put these regulations on, not of his own doing. He didn't want to spend the money to develop something he didn't give a fuck about to begin with. And then he goes and meets with Donald Trump, and everybody's like, you know, well, he's going to the enemy, blah, blah, blah. No, he's skipping his happy ass in there so that he can continue to do the dirt that he wants to do, that regular Americans who fought at the beginning didn't want to see. See, America is losing its morality. This highbrow idea that we're better than them, we're losing that in droves. Partially by the percentages of people who voted for Trump. We're losing it. How can you have the high moral ground and you do more dirt? Aren't you supposed to do better instead of doing more dirt? Mark Zuckerberg is happy as fuck that Trump's in office. And it's not because he's kissing the ring. He is just being thankful that Trump is releasing all these regulations that he never wanted, so that he can go do just as much dirt as a billionaire white man feels like he deserves. I could do anything and you can't tell me to do nothing. Now he has the government in his pocket. You can't fuck with him. His job was not to provide us facts or even give a fuck about our feelings. His job was to maximize money. And they know Trumpers will spend their last dime to be able to be outwardly racist, outwardly misinformed, to be made to believe that they're smart when they're dumb. Feed them that and they'll buy it all day, every day. See, us people deal with facts and logic. It takes too much work to get us to convert. All it takes is their feelings to turn over their pocketbook, and millions come spewing out. Because collectively, we won't stop using their products. We won't stop putting money and things like that and power into their coffers. So if we don't totally just jump ship, they survive. So Mark Zuckerberg is not a person who's acquiescing or bending at the knee. He's just being thankful, along with the other ones, Elon, that these crooked people are in power to be able to let them do whatever the fuck they've always wanted to do. So don't get it twisted. They have never gave a shit about Americans. Not once. They give a fuck about their bottom line. So I don't, everybody's like, oh, he's stopping, he's kissing the ass of Donald Trump. No, he's thankful. He's showing his gratitude for Trump allowing him to do what he's always wanted to do, that high moral, or at least highly moral compared to the Republican side. These Republicans are allowing them to do what they've always wanted to do with no regulations. Republicans have always been low regulation people. If they had it their way, you could do whatever you want, as long as you was a white male. Murder, robbing, stealing, raping, they wouldn't give two shits about it, as long as it was a white person doing it, if they had their way. And they're proving it to you. They just put a rapist, a fraudster, starting the insurrection where people were killed. You're an accomplice to those deaths. They put that person in power of the country again. Yeah. Go figure, right? And the last thing I want to discuss about is being a black man. I've seen this country in 54 years of my life go through its ups and downs, what it believes in, what it doesn't believe in, saying it does and doesn't. And I'm no longer caring about what America as a whole wants, because I don't believe there's anything that America wants as a whole. I think each faction wants to be able to have some kind of power, some kind of legacy left behind, some kind of either proximity to white power or proximity to white supremacy, whatever, to be able to just say that my life mattered, or that I got this yacht or car or house or whatever. There's really no moral high ground to this country anymore. To me. And the thing that I recognize, I'm going to show y'all in a minute. I was watching, I was thinking it's Instagram. And I also saw it on TikTok. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere here on YouTube. I haven't looked at it up yet. There is a young man who always a black man, who's always talking about positive stuff and giving positive advice. And in so doing, you know, this brother is very positive. You don't know what he believes in, what he doesn't believe in politically and also like that. He just seems like a really nice, well-adjusted brother. Excuse me. And his content, just for one video, I saw online and it hit me hard. And I was like, I understand where he's coming from. Because a few years ago, I saw a young sister when this epidemic or pandemic happened, 2019, 2020. I seen a sister, young sister, had to be like 20, somewhere around there, sitting in her car crying and asking some of these very same questions. They broke my heart then. This broke my heart again. And I said to myself, black people, we got to stop asking people to change and start figuring things out for ourselves that will force people to act right. Legally, none of this negative stuff, not out of anger and hate, but out of love, but also out of having a structure that's for us. It's never been a structure just for us. Affirmative action, we was fighting for everybody, but it was our lives that were lost in the process. Our sacrifices. And that can wear on you. Fighting so hard and everybody gets to share in the accolades after you know, the spoils of the war of fighting against something. And then to find out statistically that the wives and daughters of the racist benefited more than Martin Luther King's children or the people he fought and lost his life for. That shit fucked with me. And seeing this brother, which I'm going to show you in a minute, this fucked with me. And as one of the elder black people who've been through it all in his life, I decided to start something called Black Unity Period. And it's all about black people finally coming together and realizing there is no white hope. There is nobody that's going to fight for you. And we shouldn't even require it. Because what rich white people know, like I told you, this war is really between rich white people and poor white people. What we won't realize is that not until poor black people, middle-class black people figure out something to help themselves within the system that's already designed for us to fail, we can't figure out something that's designed within that system for us to win so that their failures doesn't actually adjust or move our climb, then we're never going to go anywhere. Because you got to think about it. These poor white people, the argument has always been, why give reparations? I'm just as poor as you are. You got better things. That is the argument rich people who owned the slaves to begin with. That's the argument that they hold. See, they got some on the bottom and they got some on the top. So no matter what black people or people of color say, and I'm just going to talk about black people, the middle class and poor white people do the fighting for the rich white people. They don't have to worry about it. Because the poor and the middle class will be jealous of the fact of black people getting an opportunity because they feel like, I didn't have that opportunity. You did. You just squandered it. That white privilege was given to you many, many years ago. Your families, many, many years ago. If you look at the history of this country, you are where you are because rich white people have hindered you. Not because black people have. Look at the history and you'll know it. But people know, if you really pay attention to it, it's between those two factors. It's not really us. So we have to look, black people, at how to solve this problem within our own community. And I don't mean your home where you live at community. I mean the black skin that you live in community. This is your community. You got to love this because nobody else does. And this right here kind of gives you this understanding. I saw the young girl go through it years ago. It brought tears to my eyes, and I realized I had to create a solution. So I created a business that invests solely into black people so they can be able to get out of these situations. That didn't solve it, nor did it bring a lot of black people running that way, because again, we have to be in dire straits before we start making a plan to get out of stuff. And by then it's too late, because whomever's trying to take the rights away have already spent 10, 20, 50 years to put this thing in motion. And if you don't start until it starts happening, it's too late. You don't have 50 years before it totally destroys everything you've built. So in so doing, I'm going to show you what this brother went through. And then we're going to talk about it on the other end. I got my face there. You're going to see it like that. I don't care. It's going to be the way it is.
Negatively about the black community. I'm tired of seeing fake headlines painting black people in a bad light to get some attention. I'm tired of people justifying their racism and hatred and diverting it to black people who, for the most part, mind their own business and positively contribute to society. Headlines painting black people in a bad light to get some attention.
So that was the video. Um, Sorry about the production part of it, but it is what it is. You get my point. The sound engineer went to sleep. You didn't have any sound? That's because, I guess, because of the video I showed. I don't know why I didn't show it just yet, but I guess we're delayed behind. But we're going to go ahead and get back into it. No audio for it. The sound went out. They still said no audio, lost the audio. I think it should be coming back up pretty soon. I'm not seeing it, Ashley. It's delayed a lot. It's delayed a lot. So hopefully it'll show up. If not, I'll try and go back into it. But I might just have to just play the audio and then get it back in, because you do need to hear this. So we're going to go to, yeah, the production is pretty trippy. Give me a second. Because it never showed up on my end. It just audio went away and no video. It should have showed. Mm-mm-mm. Let me know what you see right now. You still see me, correct? Oh, there it is. It's starting to show now. Let's see. It'll show up here in a second. You'll see this video pop up. It is so far behind. But anyway, you'll see it. Now, this video, I want you guys to understand that this young man normally talks about positive things. This thing is advice from Lewis. And he has a point in which he literally says that he is tired of this situation, and that he hated himself because this country, America, made him hate blackness. That is so real for a lot of black people. They'll never mention. Most of them won't admit it. And I'm not saying all people go through it, but all black people, that is. But feeling that you don't belong no matter how hard you try. That's what this brother went through. That's what this brother went through. And it's painful to have to go through something like that. It's very painful. And to watch this brother, it was a sister that did something similar to this. A young girl, she sat in her car and she cried and she cried and she cried about why do white people hate us? What did black people ever do to you? She was genuinely asking a young lady. She couldn't have been more than 20. And she was crying. She was like, like the snot coming out of her nose cried. You could see her soul, her spirit had been broken. I didn't know what she had went through prior, but her spirit had been broken. It's like, wow, what she's going through. What she's going through. She should not have to go through. She cried that she did not deserve this. Give me a time in history in which black people did something to you so that I can better understand it. She was literally trying to justify their hatred just so that she could understand it, because she could not find in history a moment in time that black people did something to deserve this. And at that time, I don't know what I commented, but it was something along the lines of, baby girl, you did nothing. None of your ancestors did anything. There is nothing in history but black people treating white people fairly. The onus is not on our people. The onus is on theirs. See, a lot of good white people today can't fathom the mindset of their ancestors having so much hatred within them and so much greed within them that they would make humans cattle. And then have the mindset that they think that the humans that they've made into believing to them to be animals, that their ancestors thought they had animals living on their property working for them, and still thought, I wonder what it would feel like to have sex with an animal. And they went and had sex with these black people whom they thought was animals. Baby girl, that is not you. That is on them. Do not take that power and put it, or that demon ideology, and put it on your spirit. That's them, not us. And the same thing goes for this young man. To be told that you are less than because you're black. He's wise in his age or whatever. He's still young. And he came up with this and explained it in a very passionate way. That I'm better than what you are trying to say I am. And for Americans to realize, again, like I said, this thing right here is like a sound off for America to let you know who you really are. You're not the high moral country you say you are. A black woman and her family realized that they were going to lose everything in their homes. That these fires were getting close and they had evacuation orders and they had to bounce. Them being organized enough to heed this call and gather everybody they know and love and said, hey, look, this is not what they said verbatim. We have evacuation order. We're more than likely going to possibly lose our home. I'd be damned if I'm going to lose everything in it. And so they got everybody they knew together, 12, 13 people, whatever, people they work with, whatever, to unload their house with the quickness. Taking everything they could possibly, big screen TV, all the things that they know and love, pack it up and let's bounce. They had the wherewithal to think of doing that. Instead of saying, damn, you were very resourceful. These people did such a great job. No, these racist assholes said that these people literally were looting. In America, with your racist ass, you believed it. Because the PR of black people in this country is trash. It's so easy to believe the worst in us, and you make it seem like it's a big-ass leap to believe in the best of us. I want people to know stats, not bullshit. Less than 4% of black people will ever commit a crime in their lifetime. Less than 4% of white people will ever commit a crime in their lifetime. Why haven't you ever heard of white-on-white crime? They commit more crime than anybody on this frickin' planet. Everybody has said black on black crime, even some black people, if not all, at one point in time, till they realize how racist it actually was. And how can a country that doesn't call itself racist spend a shit ton of years not realizing, saying that on the news over and over again was such a racist statement? Knowing that they've never said Latin on Latin crime, Asian on Asian crime, none of that. Jewish on Jewish crime. Never. Not a once. How is it that in 2025 they're just now recognizing this racist ass statement to be racist? Many of them still don't. They still mention it. Without ever mentioning the people who commit the most crimes. They never say white on white crime. Not a racist country? Maybe it's because you want to remain ignorant and you don't want to feel like it's racist. So you lie to yourself and say it's not. This man had somewhat of a breakdown. And I ain't talking about like mental breakdown. I'm just saying a breakdown of reality. He's always chipper. You know, everybody's never always chipper, but most of the time. And he just brought straight facts, no chaser. Fuck your feelings. That's what that looks like. I've had that moment. That's why I address black people and say, look, if we don't have a solution, we're going to succumb to theirs. If we don't have unity, then we're going to have to battle this shit by ourselves. I want you black people to look back in history. Whenever is a time that we've been able to propel the black people? Black Wall Street? Other resemblances of Wall Street, they were in New York and other places, fighting for civil rights. Those took a lot of us, not all of us, but it took a lot of us to realize I'm sick of this shit. Let's change it. We didn't become, the majority of us probably did, but this small amount of people, you think all black people were behind Martin Luther King? No. If he had waited for all black people to get behind it, we wouldn't have the civil rights today. It took enough black people, not all. So I'm reaching out to black folks today. It takes enough of us, not all, to want this shit to end or to hold some people accountable for their actions, if not legally, financially. See, to be able to stop the racist acts that happen in this country, we need to document them, we need to report them, and most of all, we need to sue the living daylights out of them. Yeah. We need to start suing them and taking their homes and their kids' funds and their savings and all that shit. They'll think 2, 3, 4 times harder before they pull a racist act. And because money starts to fall out their pocket, they'll better understand what racism is and what not to fucking do if they want to keep the car, the house, and the lifestyle in which they've grown accustomed to. You feel me? It's not about getting them to like and love us. It's about getting them to do what's right or lose everything they love. Via the system in which they've designed. It's a litigious world. Didn't you notice? Donald Trump's always suing people. So can we. But we need to unify to get people to change. We don't try to get them to be moved by emotion and caring. That got us Donald Trump. Now it's to reach into those pockets and start to force them via the law that they've designed. May not like it, but we've done marching. We've done protests. We've done a little bit of everything that black people have taught other people how to fight for their rights. Asian people recently got an Asian hate crime bill, whatever, passed. They did the same motions that Martin Luther King and others and us black people have taught this country how to do. If we are the ones who were so oppressed that we came up with this system on how to fight it, and if we continue to be the situation that we're in, we have to come up with a newer way to fight it again. The old ways work so far. But what's that statement about insanity? Keep doing the same things, expecting a different outcome. We've been trying what Martin Luther King tried for multiple years, 60, 70 years, 80 years, whatever it's been. And we still haven't gotten to the promised land. So now it's time to come up and devise a plan that may incorporate that, but has another slant to it. And this one needs to be focused just on black folk. And it's not about moving people's hearts and minds. That shit ain't gonna work because their feelings overcome facts. They can get people to believe that woke means what they believe it means. Even though the dictionary, if they looked it up, it literally means to be aware. Wake up. You sleep, you're awake, woke. It means all these things, but they've turned all that shit into the N-word. And they don't even realize they're saying the N-word. This woke culture, what's woke? Being educated, that's woke. What's woke? Caring about black people and the plight of black people, that's woke. What's woke? Knowing about true black history and American history, not black history, but American history from a black brain perspective, that's woke. So why is it the woke part about people of color, specifically black people? What, white people are asleep? They're not woke? See, the woke part makes them feel like they're not incorporated or included in this world of treating everybody fairly. Why do I got to treat you fairly? DEI, why do I got to hire these people? White people do better work. They do? Really? How's that work in basketball? Because I think Michael Jordan pretty one of the best, and LeBron James like one of the best. How can it be that you do better, but yet you're never number one in shit that most shit goes down? Because it's not a reality, it's what they feel. And so black people have to start coming together. You'll notice my gear that I have on is called Black Unity, period. I focus on that now more than anything. I devised a system for us. You can go to blackunity.com and sign up for the list, and we talk on Zooms. We do everything behind the scenes because we need a safe space for black folk. You see how easy it was for this man that you saw the video, and I apologize for the production value, but you saw the video of this black man always talking positive, being respectful to all people, doesn't have a hateful bone in his body. And he thought that it was going to be okay. And he had this moment of sharing with y'all in the world. And what's going to come of it? It's going to be a trending thing for a few days, and people will forget it. And he'll get back to talking positive shit, and nothing will ever be done until the next one happens, and we'll all feel into our feelings and gather together and kumbaya for a minute. It's going to fade away. No solutions. It keeps repeating itself. And always waiting on some type of other type of savior instead of a black savior is not going to answer. So when you come to these meetings, these Zoom meetings, we discuss, we listen to one another. Not all black people go through the same things, but we go through some things. And when we can talk and get on the same plane about the problems we face, and then determine solutions, and then think of a strategy, then start to implement it and start to take control of the black narrative in this country and in this world. See, right now, we're just reactive. We're not proactive. There's no black entity that's constantly putting out positive shit about black people. The news takes care of talking about us in dirty ways. You rarely hear the news talk about black people in a positive light. You hear us talking about us being unalivers. You hear us about being whatever it is and beating people. You hear every negative thing. Less than 4% of us will ever commit a crime. So the 96% are never talked about. It's up to us, black people, to overshadow the 4% with the 96% of us doing good. And to let those ones doing bad stand on their own. The bad people that happen to be black. They don't represent black people. And black people, one of our faults is we're always worried about what they think about us. He need to stop acting like that because they going to think fuck all that. Give a fuck about what they think. That means they own the narrative when you're worried about what they think. What represents you, black people? The hell with what people think about what represents you. This is why we need to talk and stop talking at each other. Talk with one another. Commune with one another. It ain't about your religion. It ain't about your non-religion. It ain't about how you eat. It ain't about what group you belong to. It ain't about what clan you belong to. It ain't about what clique you belong to. Fuck all that shit. When you wake up and look in that mirror, there's something that you live in besides the house that you pay for or the rent that you pay for. You live in this black skin. You can't escape it. I don't give a fuck what you try to lighten your skin, whatever. You can't escape it, nor should you want to. But this world will have you feeling like you need to in order to be able to get ahead. That's why we code switch. Aren't you tired of it? Then do something about it. Start talking about it. Commune with other black people. Find the safe spaces. Therapy about it. Because that's the only way it's going to change. Otherwise, it's going to remain the same. And you're going to wonder why we're going backwards instead of forwards, because we have no plan. Just survival. There is no plan to thrive. And you think you can do it by yourself. Think about it. Think about how many black people out there, millionaires and billionaires, they still get thought of the same way because they're black. If we don't collectively work on our PR and work on us as a people and what people see in us, by exuding the best in us, no matter how rich you get, you can't escape what they already think of the majority of us. When are you going to realize being a good one still means you're still one of us? So, I took a drop. So I just wanted to share with you about that. You can go to blackunity.com and check out, sign up. The merch is there as well. 50% of my products go toward the Black Unity movement, Black Unity period movement. The period means something. It means nothing else. Black Unity, period. I don't care about your religion. I don't care about your non-religion. You wake up in this black skin. That's what I care about. All that other shit, you just was raised to believe in all that. When you popped out your mom's womb, you were a black child. You weren't a black Christian. You wasn't a black, whatever, mechanic. You was none of that shit. You wasn't a black Republican. You were black. And that's what this country sees you as. You get caught up in your silos of black what? Black this, black that, the other adjective. That's what's got us fucked up. That's what has got us not being unified, because you're in these subgroups and you give them more power than that initial group you were born in. This is not to hate on any other group. I know people get it twisted when I talk like this. No, it's the love on the group that everybody hates. In order to think brilliant black people evacuating their homes and taking their shit with them and being smart enough to be able to get enough people to get all their shit out, so all they lose is the shell of a home that they can build, but the memories are still with them, that should be applauded. But this country found it so easy to demonize someone who's black that thought light years ahead of any other person, any other culture. Take your shit with you. They let their shit burn in Malibu and all that. It's all gone. Not one of them was like, oh, I'm going to get all my shit. No, they got a few things and bounce. Not one of them decided, you know what? This fire, they say it's going to get close in about 2 days. Oh, shit. Not one of them millionaires, billionaires decided, hey, they got money. Moving vans could have came and backed all they shit up. They didn't do that. So instead of giving this family credit for like forward thinking, planning like a mofo, they were criminalized. While officers stood there like they were going to steal some shit in front of officers and firefighters. But you could believe that so quick because this country is sick with racism toward black folks. So much so that black folks will take part in it because they want to be accepted by the group that's more hateful about everybody. More willing to believe everybody is bad. But when you open up every history book, the most maniacal human being always has white skin, not black skin. But it's a stretch to believe that white people would do that. It's not. You're just brainwashed to believe that one thing is better than the other based on the oppression that this country has held everybody over. Disguised as a dream, the American dream. America never really had a dream. It's been a nightmare the whole time, disguised as a dream. Don't believe me? Is the American dream white men committing crimes, 34 felonies, and walking away? Is that the American dream? Or is that a nightmare? That's what America voted for. That's what America stands for. Look in the mirror and deal with the facts. Straight facts. No chaser. Fuck your feelings. All right. That's all I got. I'm gonna answer some of these questions in here, give some people some credit. Thanks to all my subscribers and all that. I see you, Benny Loco. My parents taught me not to judge people by their color, but their character. Love that. Love that. And again, this doesn't have anything to do with, like I said, there's good people and then there's bad people. But it happens to be the bad people are the ones in power, and they use the good people to be able to stay in power. And so when it comes to mano a mano, us people all down here on this level, we get along with one another. It's them that come in and divide us. So united we stand, divided we fall. And they're always dividing us with money and power and opportunities and gifts and shit that people are willing to sacrifice their morality for money. Let me get some more. I wish I was joking. I don't change my ways. They fucked off to their second, third, or fourth mansion. Yeah. I wish my parents taught me to judge people by their character. My mom was prejudiced and dad was racist. I learned the truth in school and TV. Well, at least you learned the truth. And the thing is this is why Rude Interplanet Janet, learning the truth should not be a happy moment. It should be painful. The happy moment comes in when the change comes in. When the not guilt, but how can we leave this behind? How can we remember this, but make sure we never do it again? Well, in order for you to do something better than you did before, you have to be wise and understand how it started. Therefore, you know your history, you know you won't repeat it because it didn't feel good and nobody wants to go back to feeling bad. But see, they have to make the past feel good so that you want to revisit it. That's why we're going Make America Great Again, because something in the past for them felt better than it feels now. Now you ask yourself, these people are going back in the 17th century. They're talking about slavery and women not being able to vote. These are the years they're picking as the best times. For who? White men. Specifically, powerful, racist white men. Listen to what they say. They'll give you the answer to what they really feel every time. Thank you, Benny Loco. Thanks for the excellent podcast today. It's nice to hear the truth. Thank you, Jan Dolph. The only person in Trump's camp is put in charge of HUD. Yeah. Right, say wit. I 100% believe that. I know that to be true. And it was so funny that the dudes who fought so hard for Trump, the black men, didn't even get any kind of love whatsoever. I mean, Tim Scott, this man lost every ounce of respect for himself. But I love you, Trump. Yes, I do. Looking like that character from Fat Albert. Abba-dooba-dubba-beeba-dubba. Out there literally talking about he loves somebody when they are stressing you about being straight or gay. Gave this man nothing. Byron Donalds gave this man nothing. And you'll hear them, well, we're just going to be doing what we have to do. I'm better in the position that I'm in. Get out of here, fool. You know you wanted something better. Nobody wants to stay in the same place their entire life, especially if they're out there hoofing it for somebody, putting in all this work and not getting promoted. That's the life of a black person. Bust your ass, put in extra effort, and when you're done, the white person that don't know what the fuck he's talking about gets promoted. And your ass sit around and keep on working like a horse and getting nothing out of it and being happy about it. The hell what's going on with the world right now with black folks who think like that? He brought Ben Carson back. A younger Ben Carson. No, he brought this other young guy. I forgot his name. Light skinned brother. But he hoofed it too, I guess, a little bit, but in his own state. What's up, Hugh? Georgian? Oh nine. Damn, I needed this conversation this evening. Glad to have it. Uh, see what else we got. Jorge, is it Canizares? Has anyone ever heard one story about an immigrant doing anything positive, but if the immigrants were coming from Europe, you definitely would? Come on, Jorge. I'm trying to tell you, it's not anything to do with you as an immigrant. The rich people want to keep you guys, and they will keep you guys, but they want free labor. So they're going to get all of these racist people who believe in this racist ideology no matter what skin they live in. They're going to want them to get you, and people of color mostly, into these camps. And you can stay there for years. But while you're there, why don't you make these license plates for us? Why don't you make this for us? We'll pay you. We're housing you. You got a place to live. We're giving you a trade to learn. Just make it. You can stay in America, just over here in cages, until we can be able to get you out of the country. See if the other country will accept you. You just stay here. That's what they want for you. It's not about really getting you out. It's about keeping power by making the lesser white people feel like they're important, like it's them that was the problem. You know who should be in the cages? Rich white people. Those are the ones that should go in the cages, and the people should take over. That's who needs to be in the cage, because those are the ones causing all the problems. Those are the ones that are breaking the laws and getting away from it. We need to hold our country accountable and say, look, lawyers and judges, you need to uphold this fucking law or everybody can get it. Why the hell we care about the laws when you let certain people get away with it? See, this social contract we have is breaking. We ain't nothing but a good, decade away from purging. Turn out the lights and everybody go at it. That took a Trump. That's funny. Who said that? I missed it. I went too fast. Capitalist slavery 2.0. Yes, yes. For preaching. You're welcome, Hugh Hutchinson. I appreciate you. Hutchison. I put an N in there. I want to thank everybody. I didn't set a goal for this show. I want to thank everybody for coming and supporting this show. Become a subscriber. Think about becoming a subscriber, becoming a member to help keep this show moving as I continue to build more and be able to build a team around this. I think the world needs more of just the truth. No matter how it feels to you at the moment, know the truth so that you can grow from it, get better because of it. And that way we can all build this country the way it says its promises to be, right? All right. We're supposed to be a country of morals. How can you be when half of us, more than half of us, don't deal with facts? We rather deal with our feelings instead of basing our feelings in fact. It's a damn shame. But we got a long way to go. But if you're a black person and you saw that video and it hit you a certain way and you just want to talk about it in a safe space for black people that nobody's going to judge you, let's do it. Blackunity.com. BLVCK. The A is a V in this. BLVCK. Unity.com. I want to thank you guys for this, being able to share this and staying around. If you can support the show, let me know. You can go to my Cash App, Mr. Straight Facts, support it that way. You can support in the chat if you want to do that. Next time I'll set a goal. I don't really think about those things. I just want to get these stories out, but I need to focus on that. And if you go there, you can be able to see the merch. You can also see what we're doing. And in the meetings, I'll discuss about what I said before. We're not going to get people to change their racist ways by making them feel like it's wrong. We have to get them to change their ways by taking their houses and their homes. And I ain't talking about stealing it. I'm talking about within the laws. There are laws to not do racist things, and there's penalties for some of the civil crimes in which they do. If you force the money out of their pocket, it'll force a different type of character. If you are going to do racist acts and you may lose your house, you might shut your fucking mouth. I'm not trying to change racist people from being racist. I'm trying them to stop doing the acts of racism. In your home, do what the fuck you want. When you step out, think twice, because you just might lose the house that you want to go back to. Because trust me, I will sue the living daylights out of you. We got to know the laws in order to shift that attitude. Long gone are the days to get people to feel like they're helping black folk. I ain't worried about allies or what do you call other shit, accomplices. I ain't worried about none of that shit. Those are all feeling mechanisms. We need action. And we can't rely on anybody else to see our problem like we see it and see the urgency like we see it. And we shouldn't put that barrier or burden on anybody else. It's our job to do. Their job to end racism, they want to end it. It's our job to force them in a different direction. And we'll talk about that in the meetings. Thank you for the $10 from Cynthia Johnson. I appreciate you. Gifted one Straight Facts Chaser membership. Thank you, Benny Loco. I appreciate you. Be a member again. Sorry for the lapse in support. No worries. I understand. Your boy was out for a minute because, again, I was trying to deal with my mental health about what happened in the election and how, I just been cordial and having fun and talking shit about Donald Trump. And I realized this stuff is dire. So it takes the serious me to really change some things and come up with solutions via technology and strategy, things that love on people but still gets the job done. So I'll be doing that. And I can't focus on everybody. I have to focus on black people in this aspect. And just like in history, when black people do well, everybody does. Because we're the bottom of the fucking totem pole. So you help the least of us, it helps the most of us. So that's what we've been working on. That's what we're going to do. I want to thank you guys for your support. Much love to y'all. I'll see some of y'all on my my TikTok. I also have, you probably see it in the comments, Mr. Straight Facts at Substack, so .substack.com. I have a Substack. I write articles about all these different things. I'm going to be talking about a lot of my content moving forward is going to be about our democracy versus the dictatorship in which Donald Trump is trying to lead us to. And the mild movements of how they have broken down tenets that make democracy what it is. I think a lot of this country doesn't know its history and how it even exists to be a democracy. And they don't know the tenets of democracy, and they don't know how many tenets of democracy Donald Trump has already knocked down. And we're going to go into detail in articles and sometimes video about what each tenet is and how America failed to actually defend democracy, that some of these pillars or dominoes have fallen and we have no idea. And if you don't know the tenets that hold this thing together, then it's going to fall apart and you're not going to know how to fix it. And we're going to go around that too, about how things we can repair so that we can bring our democracy back even stronger. So we're looking at how it's breaking down and how we can fix it. That's where I think my space would be better served than to spend energy talking about that fool. I want to spend energy about defeating that fool in every little thing. We're going to also try and go over Project 2025. They've admitted that that's what it's about. So we need to start looking at everything within that Project 2025 and start figuring out how we can win under this system, or how we can, defeat a certain thing that they're planning. Because trust me, this right here is just it's a modicum of what they've created. It's what they thought was digestible. Trust and believe, the plans that they really want to include were not here. Not at all. They just gave you snippets. They actually got the plan written. And that's not my words. That's the guy who wrote it and Donald Trump put in charge, who said he was going to be put in charge, who was interviewed and said these things prior to Donald Trump winning. I made a video about it. I exposed it, and America still voted for it. And still, this man is going to be in place. He's not prophetic. These are the plans that they made years in advance, and now it's coming. So you can listen or be ignorant again. I've already told you. I showed you the video, the undercover video. You can either heed it or acquiesce to it. All right? We're going to go over to all that. And that's what I think my better space would be, other than giving you the news every day. I want to just bring it to you on the weekends, whatever, Saturday or Sunday, the wrap up of a few of the things that I found to be important. And then you can go to my Substack and read articles about things that we need to do about this democracy. And I'll come back and make videos about it. But we need to find a way to win. And what we've been doing, just bitching and moaning and making complaints and making fun, it ain't a winning strategy just yet. So my thing is to win. So I got strategies. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Much love to y'all. You guys have a great evening. Enjoy your Sunday. I'm going to chill out, grab something to eat, and, hang out with fam and enjoy the rest of what's going on. But I'll be back next weekend with some more updates. And please subscribe, become a member, tell people about it. We have to grow this so that we can become this force that literally deals in fact and delivers the honest truth, so that we can have a foundation in which we can grow from and win from. But we have to know the truth first. Can't deal with lies. All right? Y'all take it easy. Much love to y'all. I'll see you when I see you.